dear children, welcome all of you to the online classes of biology. Dear children, I hope everyone have enjoyed nicely your holidays and also might have done your vacation homework. So I hope that chapter is very clear to you. In that we have learned about principles of inheritance and variation, like Mendel's various experiments and the laws put forward by Mendel, some of the deviations that have been found out later by different scientists from Mendel's laws of inheritance. So dear children, you have also studied about mutations and the diseases that can cause by the mutations. So at that time we have studied like Mendelian disorders, chromosomal disorders, etc. also. So now in this chapter again we are going to study about the structure of DNA that you have already studied in the previous class, isn't it? Do you remember? Then we will have to study some experiments to prove that what DNA as the genetic material. As you know, there are two nucleic acids. What are they? DNA and RNA, isn't it? So among this, which is the genetic material, or it can also be proteins, isn't it? So like this, among all these molecules, biomolecules, we have learnt about biomolecules. Among this, which is the genetic material? So there were some experiments done by different scientists that proved that DNA is the genetic material. RNA also acts as the genetic material in some of the viruses, but the major function of RNA is what? To function as the messenger. Means it gives messages from DNA to the ribosomes to synthesize proteins. So you know how DNA works. All of you might be knowing DNA is the genetic material. Means according to the what information stored in the DNA only, the organisms will be, isn't it? They are the cell's functions will be determined by DNA. You have learned that nucleus controls all the activities of a cell. So especially talking particularly the DNA inside the nucleus is controlling the activities of a cell, isn't it? So how it controls? By the production of proteins. Understood? So DNA, how it controls the activities of a cell, or what bring the characteristic feature of a cell or of an organism by the production of proteins. So in between this proteins and DNA, which usually acts as the messenger, that is the RNA. So RNA and DNA, they are the two nucleic acids. Among this, RNA is mainly, the major function of RNA is what? To act as the messenger between DNA and the proteins. Is it clear? In addition to that, okay, RNA also plays some other roles, like its functions as an adapter, structural molecules, okay, and in sometimes as catalytic molecules. So this can also be asked, okay, what are the different roles of RNA? RNA in some molecules, some organisms, okay, they act as what? The genetic material. In some of them it functions as the adapter, structural, and as the catalytic molecule, okay. And in this chapter we have to study in detail about the DNA, the various experiments to find out the genetic material, then about RNA, then the processes, various processes related to DNA, like replication, transcription, translation, and also about genetic code, regulation of gene expression, Human Genome Project, and DNA fingerprinting. All this are new topic to you. So I think some of you might have gone through all this. So let's start with the first topic, that is structure of DNA. This also you have already studied in 11th class, isn't it? So we know that DNA is a polymer. Polymer means what? It's made up of many monomer units. Okay, and this monomer units are linked to form what? The polymers of nucleic acid, isn't it? So as you know, the DNA is a long polymer of deoxyribonucleotides, and how its length is expressed, you know, it's defined as the number of nucleotides, okay, present in it. Okay, so or it can be said as the pair of nucleotides. So a pair of nucleotide will be referred to as a base pair. So how many base pairs are there? Okay, that will be telling you about the length of it. Okay, for example, bacteriophage known as 5x174, that is having 5386 nucleotides. That is the length of the DNA. Understood? So length of the DNA is always explained in the terms of what? In terms of number of nucleotides. How many nucleotides are there in that? Okay, and then bacteriophage lambda, that is having 48,502 base pairs, and Escherichia coli, that is having little more means much more nucleotides than the other two, that is 4.6 into 10 to the power 6 base pair. And haploid content of human being, okay, means human DNA is 3.3 into 10 to the power 9 base pairs. So haploid set into 2 will be giving what? Total diploid content. So length of the DNA, how we will explain? In terms of what? In terms of nucleotides. How many nucleotides are there in that? Okay, number of nucleotides. And this all you have to learn, okay, because this can be asked for 1 mark and all. Understood? So when you learn the structure of polynucleotide chain, so if we study the structure of polynucleotide chain, okay, so do you remember a nucleotide? Last year we have learned. So any nucleotide you take, it will have 3 major components. What are they? Nitrogen base will be there, a pentose sugar will be there, and a phosphate group. Okay, so in each nucleotide, what are the materials that you can see, or the molecules that you can see? Nitrogen base will be there, a phosphate group will be there, and a pentose sugar. And that pentose sugar can be ribose in case of RNA, or it can be deoxyribose, isn't it? And do you remember the nitrogen bases can be divided into 2 groups? What are they? Purines and pyrimidines. Purines are what? Double ringed structures, and they include what? Adenine and guanine. Okay, and pyrimidines, they are single ringed structures, and they contain 3 types of nitrogen bases. What are they? Cytosine, uracil and thymine. Okay, so you can see that thymine is present in only DNA, and instead of thymine, what will be present in RNA? Uracil. Okay, then if you see a nucleotide, okay, in a nucleotide, a nitrogen base will be linked to the OH of the 1 carbon of 1 dash carbon of pentose sugar, through which bond we have studied this N-glycosidic bond. So between the sugar and the nitrogenous base, what is the bond found? That is glycosidic bond. Okay, and then a nitrogen base and a sugar will give you what? A nucleoside, isn't it? Nucleoside means what? It contains a nitrogen base and a sugar. So then when this nucleoside is attached, isn't it, to a phosphate group, then it will be forming a nucleotide. Okay, so when a phosphate group is linked to the OH group of 5 dash carbon, okay, of a nucleoside, then through which bond? So the bond between the sugar and the phosphate will be what? Phosphodiester bond. Understood? So like this a nucleotide will be formed. So I told when nitrogen base, when a nitrogen base is attached to the sugar, okay, through the first carbon, then it is a nucleoside, and when this nucleoside attached to the the phosphate through the 5' carbon, then it will be a it will be a nucleotide. So this much forms the nucleotide, that is one nitrogen base, one sugar and one phosphate. So this much is the nucleotide. Understood? And then the nucleotides, how two nucleotides are linked through 3' 5' phosphodiester bonds, isn't it? So you can see here two nucleotides, they are joined by one 5' and 3' carbon. Okay, so they are what you can see, phosphodiester linkage, and in this way they join to form what? A polynucleotide chain. So a polymer will have a free, okay, in one end will have a free phosphate moiety at the 5' end. You can see here, if this is the nucleotide polymer, okay, one strand, and you can see in 5' one phosphate group is free, and in the 3' OH group is free, means it is not attached to the any other nucleotide. Here also it is free, it is not attached to any other nucleotide, and here also it is not attached to any other nucleotide. So in 5' end, okay, a phosphate group will be free, and in 3' end, okay, there will be OH group free. Understood? So the end where the phosphate moiety is free is called the 5' end, okay, and the other end where the sugar has a free OH, that will be known or will be named as the 3' end. Okay, so in this way in RNA there is only single chain, but in DNA you have learned that there are two strands. The two strands are going anti-parallel to each other, isn't it? You have studied this. You can see here this is the DNA's diagram, and you can see here in this, okay, region where 5' means in this sugar 5' end is having a free phosphate moiety, and here a 3' in the 3' end a free OH group, and in the other strand you can see where this phosphate group is free, they are in the other strand it will have the 3' OH group free, and here you can see just opposite, isn't it? Here OH group is free and here phosphate group is free. That's what it is called as anti-parallel. Okay, the two strands are anti-parallel. They will be running parallel but in opposite direction. Is it clear? So if you see the RNA, okay, in each nucleotide there will be an extra OH group at the second position, and they are having uracil instead of what? Thymine. So actually uracil is what? 5, actually thymine is what? 5-methyl uracil. Okay, 5-methyl uracil. So because of this two, okay, RNA is more what? Reactive. That's the reason why during the evolution RNA is not selected as the genetic material. If any genetic material is more reactive, what will happen? They can react and mutate very fastly, isn't it? That is the reason the RNA viruses are getting mutated very fastly. So means in one way it is not a not a considerable character for a genetic material if the characters are getting changed every time. Okay, so even though it gives some possibility for evolution, but what more reactive or very reactive molecule is not preferable for being a genetic material. So is it clear? So what are the difference between DNA and RNA? What all 3 points you can write? What are they? RNA is single stranded, DNA is double stranded. RNA, in each nucleotide of RNA, what is there? At the second position of carbon, one extra OH group is there, and this makes the RNA more reactive. Okay, and also in RNA, uracil is there instead of thymine. So these are what some of the difference between RNA and DNA. Okay, so for the first time, DNA was identified by a scientist known as Frederick Miescher. Okay, and he named it as nuclein, and its structure was put forward by Watson and Crick. What is the famous structure of DNA? Double helix model, isn't it? Double helix model of DNA was put forward by Watson and Crick. Okay, and this was based, actually they have not any experiment they have not done, they have just proposed, okay, the model of DNA as the double helix based on the X-ray radiography. Okay, X-ray diffraction data produced by Rosalind Franklin, and also from the knowledge of Rosalind Franklin. Okay, so they have created X-ray diffraction data, and Chargaff put forward his rule, that is the ratios between adenine and thymine. Okay, the ratio between adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine, that will be constant and equals to 1. So this is the Chargaff rules. It can also be asked. Okay, so what do you mean by Chargaff rule? The ratios between adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine are constant and equals 1s. Okay, so from Chargaff rules and the data provided by Rosalind Franklin and Maurice Wilkins in their X-ray diffraction data, Watson and Crick put forward the double helical model of DNA. Okay, so according to this model, we have already studied that the two base pairs are complementary to each other. Okay, so if you know the sequence of one pair, means one strand, you can predict the nitrogen base pair of the other strand, because A will always pair with T, and if C is there, it will always pair with G. Okay, A and T will be there and C and G will be there. Understood? So this pair, okay, will be seen. Only this pair will be seen, and due to this, the strands are complementary to each other. Understood? And one more thing is there, as the two strands are complementary to each other, only one strand can transcribe, means it can, only one can function as the template, okay, for the synthesis of proteins. Otherwise what will happen? Both the strands can be copied, that we will discuss in the next classes. So if you know the base pair of one strand, the other strand can be synthesized. Okay, we can synthesize a new strand. Understood? So this is the complementarity of the base pairs in the strands. Okay, then so the features of the DNA double helix structure, if you see, we have studied this in the last year. Okay, that is, they are made up of two polynucleotide chains. Okay, and that forms the backbone of DNA. Okay, the backbone of DNA is made up of the polynucleotide chain, which contains sugar and phosphate, and the two chains are having anti-parallel polarity, that is, one will be in the 5' 3' direction and the other will be in the 3' 5' direction. We have already studied what is this 5' and 3' polarity, isn't it? And the bases will be paired through hydrogen bonds, isn't it? Nitrogen bases, they form the steps and they are paired by H bonds. Understood? And adenine will have 2 hydrogen bonds with thymine, okay, and guanine and cytosine. They will be what? They will be joined by 3 hydrogen bonds. So 2 hydrogen bonds between adenine and thymine. Adenine always pair with thymine. Likewise also thymine always can pair with adenine. If in one strand thymine is there, the other strand will have adenine. Okay, if one strand is having adenine, then they will pair with thymine only. Understood? So if these two are there, they are paired with 2 hydrogen bonds. And if C and G is there, they are pairing with 3 hydrogen bonds. Okay, and the 2 chains, they are coiled in right-handed fashion, and the pitch of the helix, okay, that is 3.4 nanometer. Okay, and around in between the 2 pitch there are 10 base pairs. So you can see here these are base pairs, isn't it? And you can see adenine and thymine with 2 base means hydrogen bonds, and C and G what they are pairing with 3 hydrogen bonds, H bonds. Understood? Now let's see what the in between the 2 pitch, okay, like this. How many base pairs? 10 base pairs. This is 1 base pair, 2, 3, 4, 5, likewise 10 base pairs can be seen in between 2 adjacent pitch. And what is the length of one pitch, okay, or pitch of the helix is 3.4 nanometer. Okay, then what the distance between a base pair in a helix is 0.34 nanometer. Okay, between the adjacent base pair, the what distance is how much? 0.34. This much distance between 2 adjacent base pair, it is 0.34 base pair. Understood? Sorry, 0.34 nanometer. Okay, and the plane of one base pair stacks over the other in double helix. Okay, so this also confers or gives stability, means 2 adjacent base pairs, they stacks over, okay, that means one will stack over the other, so that gives additional the stability. Okay, so this is about the structure of DNA that we have learned last year itself. So in this class, today's class, what we have studied is, means what all we have to remember is DNA and RNA, how they differs, okay, and how the length of the DNA can be calculated. How the length of the DNA is calculated? By what it is defined as the number of nucleotides, and you have to remember about the various the organisms given in your textbook as example. Okay, for example, what 5x174, that is having 5386 nucleotides. Bacteriophage lambda, it is having 48,502 base pairs. Escherichia coli, that is having 4 into 6 into 10 to the power 6 base pair. Okay, and haploid content of human DNA is having 3.3 into 10 to the power 10 base pair. So this all you have to remember, and then you will have to remember about the polarity. Okay, on what basis the polarity of the strands is described. Then Chargaff's rule. Okay, that is the ratios between adenine and thymine and guanine and cytosine, that will be constant and it will be equals to 1. Okay, so then you will have to remember about the DNA double helix and its properties. Hope you understood this much very nicely. We'll meet with the next video.